What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I appreciate you letting me barge in here and talk to you.
Great to see you.
Good to see you. You know, when I decided to do this interview series, selfishly, I want to learn more about Catawba County and the thing that I sell every day. But also, I needed more insight on industries and people, all age groups, and you guys came to mind first at the very beginning. So if you have a few minutes, let's sit down and have a talk.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll shoot some content over here. Let's go.
All right. Well, your new place is shaping up.
A lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done.
Well, you know, I think that's kind of why I wanted to do this. It's because Catawba County has kind of grown by leaps and bounds, but more importantly is it's where we grew up. It's where we're from. It's who we are. And my first question that I always ask people is, growing up in this area, there's things that make you smile. And, you know, memories you have, what's one of those things that make you smile growing up?
Yeah, I think growing up in Hickory in the late 80s and 90s, the summers here were pretty epic. I think we're fortunate. It's unique in Catawba County, specifically Hickory, because that's what we know is, you know, you just didn't hang out with 3 or 5 guys or 3 or 5 friends. You went to the center in the morning, and it was a group of 50, 100. And if you were lucky enough to have somebody that lived on the lake, maybe somebody with a jet ski or a boat, after you get done playing basketball, you went to the lake, hung out, and tried to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't believe the consistency with that story with people,
Really?
all ages.
Yeah,
the
not
lake's
surprised.
part of it, the center was part of it, so it's kind of cool. But, you know, I think the other thing that's kind of cool is small town Hickory, which is like many towns across the country, have family businesses, small, big, whatever, and you're a 3rd generation owner of this with your family. And you know, you've got your granddad that started in his basement, and then your dad came on board, and then you and your brother. So kind of like walk me through how important is it for you to be part of this and to kind of watch this happen? What's going on around us now is watching it kind of grow and be part of that.
Sure, super proud of it. You don't hear of many businesses today, anywhere, that are 3rd generation. So quick backstory, granddad got started, sold it to my dad for $1. Then in 1975, dad took over. 2000, brother got into it. We all grew up in a factory, from taking out the trash, sweeping the floors. It was my first paycheck, I think, when I was in 5th grade. Anyways, you know, 30 years ago, there were 130 mills in this town that actually specifically made socks. And today it's a handful, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a level of pride, being prideful where I come from, the industry that my family comes from, and seeing what we can do, you know, for the future to carry on.
Yeah, well, that's part of one of the things that I thought of too is questions, is that I've watched you guys from the outside in, you know, outside looking in, and seeing you guys pivot at any waking moment. In 08, when times got bad, you know, using storage in a different way, to COVID, to kind of like that whole environment that you guys had to go through and survive was impressive. And from, you know, like I said, the outside looking in. Now, you're a creative guy, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you like music, you like culture, and all those things that we do. And so I think that when I started thinking about you, you know, the sock hasn't changed in ever. So how does a creative guy get, you know, put your stamp on something when, you know, it's a product that doesn't change outside of how you make it change?
Yeah, I'll answer that in 2 ways. One, we're fortunate that we make something that doesn't change that often. However, there are things that you can do to make the industry more exciting, whether that's going into a niche market like we do with our athletic socks or our compression socks. Personally, what I try to do is, let's say I couldn't color a sock another color, right? It had to remain gray. Well, I can be creative in the way we do business. And one of those ways that what I brought to the table, my dad and my brother did the hardest things first, and that was like build the foundation of how we can make stuff. What I was able to do is get creative on how we sell stuff in e-commerce in the 2008 all the way to what it is now. E-commerce is really like my creative outlet, not only for the designs I do, but also the way the business is ran.
Yeah. Well, you certainly are impacting others. My son actually has talked to you about it, and that's kind of the wave of the future when selling products. And so, I mean, that's kind of cool to watch that kind of go from there. You know, you talk about this area and how important it is to your industry and everything else, but in those times, you guys didn't leave this area. A lot of people were leaving, selling in other areas, whether it's out of the country or buying yarn from different areas. You guys have really stayed local, which is really cool, and not many people can say it. So,
Right,
you know, talk a little bit about how important that was to you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's important. I think, you know, you're also at the mercy of what type of business you can do and how you can do it. You know, ultimately, it's extremely important for us to make all of our product here. I would say still 98% of all of our business is made in Hickory, North Carolina or a surrounding 5. Ultimately, you know, and I think the future of all things are, if you can do it regionally, that cuts down on a lot of costs and a lot of volatility and a lot of risk.
Right.
So for us, it kind of makes sense on what we feel loyal to, but also maybe it's the best business practices moving forward as well.
Right. So, you know, your business is changing, obviously. You guys are changing your business, changing the business, you know, but there's still hurdles out there. Every business has a hurdle. And so when you lay in bed at night, I know your brother gets anxious about it, you do, your dad does, like 10 years from now, like what makes you nervous about this industry, about this area, about textiles, about, you know, what is it that makes you nervous?
You know, 10 or 20 years ago, the answer was the unknowns, and I think that is still the answer. One defining factor is going to be technology, robotics, AI, what that does even for us at a manufacturing level. I always think about automotives, right? They were the first ones to really become automated with machines. It never really could be applied to socks. And you wonder, you know, people aren't making sock mills in America, right?
Right.
So if the barrier of entry is lower with technology, robotics, does that breed more competition? If so, we invite it. It's been awesome. We've had competition overseas for 30 years now, and we've been able to survive. I would say the unknowns and a slice of labor in there as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you really boil down every industry, whether it's furniture or anything in our area, those answers are going to be somewhat similar. You know, the labor market, technology, all those things. So the other thing is you guys have made big strides as we're sitting in a new place that's being built out, and you guys are looking forward to like filling it out. In 10 years, what's exciting for you? Like, you know, I know your dad especially has seen significant changes. You guys have, but what's like exciting for you 10 years from now?
Yeah, so I'm super bullish on where not only the city's going, the county, the state, but also the country. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I'm super excited about is the fact that the landscape of selling anything is changing rapidly, right? So people see the Amazons, and then they go to their local mall, and maybe the retail's down. But for a factory, all I see is opportunity. Mm-hmm. And our goal here is if we can go from factory to your feet with our socks and cut out everyone else,
right.
At the end of the day, the customer really will get the best product and the best experience with that. So,
right.
E-commerce.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the reasons I chose you to do this interview, and you graciously allowed me to do it, is because you're staying in this area, and that's important. You know, I mean, there's been opportunities for many companies to move, many people to take labor away, and you guys haven't done that, and I appreciate that. And, you know, I know Catawba County does, I know our area does, and, you know, that's why it's easy to do this series and celebrate companies like this and people like y'all, because it is a commitment to our area. And when people ask, why do we move, like, why do people move here? It's because people find it compelling enough to stay, whether it's their company does or their family does. And that was like my next question is, you're raising a family here now, right? And you've committed to raising your family here. I mean, outside of this and what we've talked about, what part of the county and the city do you love that you would keep 2 little ones here?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Hickory, Catawba County is a sweet spot. You go anywhere in the country, it's hard to find something as special as what we have here. Growing region in between 2 great cities, Asheville and Charlotte, but we've kept that still small town American vibe going on. And one thing that makes me excited, my children go to Oakwood. I still walk them through the neighborhood that we rode our bikes in, and there's still the nostalgia of how we grew up. And how I know my kids are going to grow up, and Hickory has been able to change, but not change.
Right.
And I think it's super exciting. I can go downtown with my family, go to the farmer's market, and I can hang out, and I'm eating dinner downtown all day long, and it's all family centric, and it's just wonderful.
Right.
Checks a lot of boxes for a dad.
And you know, that's not happening in small town America in the South. And that we've done our city and our government and municipality has done an extremely good job of pushing us to this point right now. But even with talks with Bourne Wood, and we still have to look forward and continue to move forward if we're going to attract other companies, other people, and be able to sell it the way we're selling it today.
100%.
So I appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure. I know you got a lot to work to do here. So again, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Great to see you. Thank you.